What's going on, everybody? Marvel the Cross 316 back on another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at the X-Men issue number 9. And this issue came out in January of 1965. And today, folks, we're going to be looking at the first appearance of Lucifer. He is a big-time rival of Professor Xavier. And we have the X-Men summoning Professor Xavier's call. They're going to Europe to aid Professor Xavier, but they're going to run into some guest stars here, and that is the guest stars of the Avengers. So pretty cool stuff. We see the X-Men fighting the Avengers for the first time, and that's going to be pretty cool here in this series. And so let's go ahead now and get started. Pretty cool stuff that we're going to be looking at today. We see here that the title is Enter the Avengers, featuring the earth-shattering threat of Lucifer. It says, whatever you want in a super epic, this one's got it. And so this issue is brought to you by Stan Lee, who wrote this issue. We have Jack Kirby on the drawings. We have Chick Stone on the inking and Sam Rosen on the lettering page. So let's go ahead now and get started with this epic tale. We start out the issue with this ship, and it looks like it's going to ram right into this iceberg. These captains are freaking out. They're like, reverse engines, iceberg directly ahead. When all of a sudden, we see that these two optic blasts that destroy and crumble this iceberg. And they're like, what in the name of creation was that? Whatever it was, it destroyed the iceberg. The ship and our passengers are safe. Well, where did those beams come from? It came from the X-Men leader, Cyclops. But because of that huge amount of optic blast that could topple down an iceberg, it caused Cyclops to lose his head here. I mean, he's feeling weak. So he has Bobby Drake help him back up and take him back to the room here. And we see Jean Grey puts these ice cubes on his head here. And we've seen in these last couple of issues that Scott and Jean both have feelings for each other, but they've not told each other yet. And Jean Grey thinks right here, she says, "Oh, Scott, my heart just breaks when I see you so pale, so shaken. If only I could comfort you with my arms, my lips. But I know I mustn't. As our acting leader, you've no time for thoughts of romance. So if only we were ordinary humans, free to follow the urgings of our hearts. But I mustn't allow myself such hopeless dreams." So finally, Scott is going to tell the rest of the members here why they're on this mission. He says that Professor X contacted me last week. He said there was a mission for us in Europe. In fact, I expect further details from him in any minute. And then here comes Professor Xavier as he telekinetically tells Cyclops exactly what is up. He says, "Hold it, be silent, all of you. The professor is making contact again." And he says to Cyclops that I have finally located the hidden cave of Lucifer. Now here in the heart of the Balkans, I face my most crucial battle. It was Lucifer who lost me the use of my legs years ago. Someday I shall tell you the whole story if I survive the next few hours. But now, Cyclops, these are your instructions. If I should be defeated, then you, my X-Men, must carry on. Lucifer must never menace mankind again. I have transmitted my location to you. I can do no more. And so we see that he's going up against this fiend here, someone that knows Professor Xavier very well, as we see these booby traps. And here we meet the villain for this issue here, Lucifer. He sends out this dust devil. This dust devil is going to cause him to go all the way to where Lucifer's at, and he says, "Lucifer, at last." And he says, "Your quest is ended, Xavier, in the only way it could end. Now I shall finish the job I began years ago. Now I shall destroy you." But Professor Xavier is not going to go down without a fight rather. And then we see Lucifer says, "Stop, you fool! If I am harmed, the entire world is doomed." How is that possible? We'll soon find out. But we see that the members of the X-Men have finally made it to Europe in the Balkans, in the Bolivian village, when all of a sudden we see the guest appearance of Thor and the Avengers. And one thing we need to understand is that Thor's Uru hammer can detect evil in any part of the world. And so we see that the Avengers have been led to this area because of the presence of an evil person, and that person is Lucifer. And so the Avengers are going to try to put an end to this threat. They come across this guy in his car, and this is the comedic effort here that's been put into this issue, and it's pretty funny, I'd say. And the Wasp says, "For goodness sake, do you need a house to fall on you? Can't you take a hint? Now go on, scat." And then he's going to run into the X-Men, who are not in costume. He tells them that he saw monsters back there, creatures with wings, hammers, shields, even giants. And so we see that then Warren is going to take off his shirt. He's going to then fly. And he said, "Oh no, what have I gotten into? Next I'll be seeing pink elephants and gremlins. Gangway! I'm taking the next plane back to Ohio." And so now we see that Professor Xavier is going to learn the big secret behind why he cannot hurt Lucifer here is because his heartbeat is connected to this bomb. And this bomb has the capacity to, if it detonates, to destroy an entire continent. And that continent would be Antarctica. And so Professor Xavier is going to have to warn his X-Men, as we see that Lucifer is going to try to attack them without notice. So he does his astral form, alerts the X-Men just in time so they are not hit by this ionic ray here. So then the X-Men are going to suit up here as they know that they have made it to the area where Lucifer is at. But unfortunately for the X-Men, they're going to have to fight another danger, and that is the presence of the Avengers. And the Avengers feel like they need to get through the X-Men to get to whatever evil presence is here in this Balkan area. And so that's what we're going to see here. And Iron Man says that they've seen the X-Men fight the Fantastic Four in the past, as we see in issue number 31. But now, can the X-Men go up against the Avengers? That's the big question. And so we see that we're going to have one heck of a battle here. The Avengers versus the X-Men. I mean, this is pretty good stuff, drawn by the great King Kirby, Jack Kirby. This is awesome stuff, especially this panel right here. Just great stuff. I can't complain. This is awesome stuff. But we see that the X-Men and the Avengers are evenly matched. The astral form of Professor Xavier returns back to the body of Professor Xavier. And now he's going to have to do something very desperate here. He scans the brain of Lucifer here, causing him to faint here. This is going to cause Lucifer to faint because he's going to basically circumvent the portion of the medulla, the oblongata, nearest the spinal column, as I penetrate the most sensitive area of his cerebellum. So that's what happens. We see that Lucifer passes out without the bomb detonating, and this is going to give the X-Men a little leeway here. Professor Xavier realizes that the X-Men need help, and so he's going to telekinetically contact Thor here, and he's going to explain the whole situation with Thor. Thor is then going to call the Avengers to assemble together, and he tells them exactly what happens and what's up with the X-Men and why they're acting the way they're acting. And so they vote unanimously to leave the area, knowing that they've stumbled into someone else's business. And so finally, Professor Xavier says, "Good job, X-Men. Now you can come help me." So that's what they're going to do. Hopefully Lucifer is not going to wake up. And so we see that the X-Men arrive. Professor Xavier still doesn't have the use of his legs. He's out without his wheelchair. He says, "Take me to that bomb. We have to detonate or try to prevent it from blowing up. Because if it does blow up, then there will be catastrophic events." And so we see that he has to concentrate with his brain, and Cyclops is going to be the sole member of the X-Men that's going to be able to stop this bomb from destroying a continent. But he knows that time is running out because we see that Lucifer's heartbeat is growing weaker, and this is what could happen if that bomb detonates, and there will be ships in the ocean will be scattered with all kinds of icebergs, and there'll be tidal waves, catastrophic stuff. So finally, he tells Cyclops to use his optic blast and make it as narrow as possible. And so that's what he does. He obeys the orders of Professor Xavier, and then they're successful. They're able to stop the bomb from detonating, and Lucifer's then going to get back up here, and he realizes that his efforts to destroy the X-Men have failed here. He said it took him 10 years to build this bomb, and he says, I guess we're now even. But Professor Xavier says they're not even because he still doesn't have the use of his legs. And he says, no matter where you are, Lucifer, the X-Men will be there to stop you. And so that's how we end this issue, folks. I hope you liked it, with the first appearance of Lucifer and a big reason why Professor Xavier is in a wheelchair. And so, when the reason why he lost his leg, the use of his legs. And so I hope you like this issue. Coming up next, folks, we'll be looking at issue number 10. But before then, go ahead now and give this video a like. Comment down below what you liked about this issue. Subscribe if you have not. And I will see y'all